You've said, Rabbi Kahana, that you want to eliminate all Arabs from Israel. If you were prime minister, how would you get them out?
First of all, let me add a quick reason why. The reason is that the Arabs of Israel hate Israel. They are growing at a rapid birth rate. If they're the majority, that is an end to Israel. How will I get them out? We are ready to offer compensation for every Arab for his property, every Arab who's ready to leave quietly and willingly. I want...
But what if they don't leave?
We'll do to them what the Poles and the Czechs did to the ethnic Germans who lived in their own countries.
Which is?
We'll force them out. No one protested that which the Poles and the Czechs did in 1945. Indeed, it was ratified at Potsdam by Truman and by Attlee and by Stalin.
Well, haven't you said that those who don't leave will be slaughtered?
If you can show me where I said that, I will pay your ticket back and forth to Israel, and you can stay at the King David Hotel and the wing which Begin didn't blow up.
But you have said, or have agreed with the idea that after you took power, that the life for an Arab in Israel would not be worth living. Haven't you ascribed to that?
No, what I said was that we would try to make life much more difficult for them so that they would leave. But that's really before I take power. We want laws which will, for example, just as the average Jew today must serve 3 years in the army at the age of 18 and Arabs don't, we would insist that Arabs serve 3 years in national service. Not the army, but in national service. My point is that if you want to know what the Arabs would do to us if they stayed in Israel and had power, look what they do to themselves today in Lebanon. And those who think that Jews can coexist with Arabs, let's first see the Arabs coexisting with Arabs.
Rabbi Kahana, let me ask you about something that you said here in Washington at a press conference on Thursday, where you said that Prime Minister Peres of the Labor Party would not turn over the government to the head of the Likud, the Conservative Party, Prime Minister, Mr. Shamir, the President Defense Foreign Minister, on schedule, and this would bring down the government. You know, you're not in the confidence of Mr. Peres, I trusted. He's your bitter enemy. How do you know that?
Because I know who Mr. Peres is. He and his parasites were conceived in fraud and born in perfidy. There's no way that they will do this. They are looking for an issue, and they have the perfect issue now, the so-called peace process. There's no way that the Likud will accept that.
All right, what happens then? They refuse to turn over. What does he say? I'm not going to agree to this arrangement and call for new elections? Is that the deal?
What he'll say is, in indignation, he'll say, I've had it. I've had an entire year and a half with them. They don't want peace, not Taba, not Egypt, not this and not that, and that's it. And we want peace, and I'm going to the president and resigning. Then there will be an election.
What's that mean for Americana?
That means the Americana will be the third largest party, and if the Likud wants to form the next government, it will have to be with Americana.
If you were prime minister, would you ban secular parties?
No.
Like the Labor parties? I thought you had said that.
No, I never said it. Another thing...
Well, how would you treat those parties?
One of the problems is that you believe your own magazine. That's a dangerous thing. I've never said that.
Well, no, I've read that in places other than the New Republic.
What the New Republic is not, it's a concept. There are all kinds of New Republics.
Well, anyway, the question is, what would you do with these secular parties?
Nothing. They would say, I am for Jewish democracy. I will not change the democratic system in Israel.
Well, I thought you said they were not compatible.
They certainly aren't, but I'm not about to go to a civil war with Jews. What I would like to do is, of course, one thing. What I would do is quite different.
What would you like to do?
If I believe that Judaism is God's law, and that Judaism does not separate synagogue and states, of course I want a Torah state, a state based upon Jewish law. And I'll try to get that, but only through the means of democracy, because otherwise we will rip the country to pieces, and I'm not about to kill other Jews.
Rabbi Kahana, when the polls came out, I think it was last year, showing that if election were held at that time, you would win 11 seats, there was some legislation introduced and passed in the Knesset barring from the electoral list any party that advocates racism, any party that defames Arabs. Doesn't that put you out of business for the next election?
First of all, it doesn't say anything about Arabs. It does ban any party list which is racist, and I, of course, voted for that bill.
You voted for the bill?
Well, certainly, but because what does that bill have to do with Kahana? The fact of the matter is that I'm not a racist, and I don't hate Arabs because they are Arabs. We are opposed to Arabs because they are a danger. Now, in the next election, we are going to present a party platform which is made up only of verses from the Bible and source of the Talmud. I want the High Court of Israel to state that Judaism is racist.
So you're saying that law is not going to impede you in the election?
Not in the least, and they, of course, know it, and they know it.
Don't you want all Arabs expelled? You would reject the idea then that Zionism is racism?
Of course. If any Arab wants to stay in Israel and have his personal rights, his cultural and religious and social and economic rights, he may do so, but not national rights, because otherwise there won't be a Jewish state. And I want to make quite clear, Zionism is the problem and not Meir Kahana.
Why have you referred to Arabs as, with such names as dogs and jackals?
Just once, and that was at a demonstration of Arabs at Hebrew University in which they sang the PLO national anthem. These are students from Israel. Took over Wise Hall, attacked the Zionists, and threw stones at me. Those are dogs. Arabs are not dogs any more than Jews are, but those were.
Rabbi Kahana, some survey material or some analysis I have seen indicates that your supporters are the lowest economically situated people in Israel, the most poorly educated, the bottom of society. Doesn't that give you some pause as to just who is following your teachings in Israel?
There's probably no one more arrogant than the liberal, the one who speaks of the people but despises them. The same liberals who would be delighted to get black votes and would never say the lowest and least educated. Let me tell you something. Those Sephardic Jews who vote for me are streets-wise people, and they're infinitely clever about life than the professors at Hebrew University, and there are also a lot more of them. So the Sephardic Jew, the Jew from Arab countries who votes for me, didn't learn about Arabs at a seminar at George Washington. He learned about Arabs by living with them.
But, sir, I read about, just in the last few months, of huge crowds of people demonstrating against you, 10,000 people.
Sure.
Who are those people?
Those are organized people from the kibbutzim. Those are leftists, and it's very, very easy to get 10,000 people. They have the money, they bust them in. But I can assure you one thing. Since there is a bitter hatred between Sephardic Jews and those people that are leftists, every time that they demonstrate against Kahana, I would pay them for it.
Rabbi, why do you try to maintain your American citizenship? I know the State Department has tried to withdraw your passport. As an elected official of a foreign government, don't you think you should give up your American citizenship?
Mr. Barnes, I have a lot of things to say to Jews in this country. And it's important that I be here. If I ever lost that citizenship, I'd never get a visa. In any event, I want you to know that it's an outrage what they are doing to me. Moshe Aarons was an American citizen who sat in Knesset, never was bothered. A woman named Marsha Friedman was a Knesset member of the Citizen Rights Party, an American citizen. The UN ambassador to Grenada at this moment is a Brooklyn-born dentist, an American citizen.
Which ambassador to Grenada? I'm sorry, the Israeli ambassador?
No, the ambassador to the Grenadian ambassador to the UN.
I beg your pardon. Okay.
To the UN. In short, the courts in this country, specifically Ephraim versus Rusks, have made it quite clear that no one can lose a citizenship unless he gets up and says, I am giving it up, and I haven't done that.